The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Decade in Review. We are going back in time.
This is more like an era in review.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens to be about 10 years.
More or less.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, we never
The Saban
actually
Era.
did one for Power Rangers, and I feel like we should give our thoughts on this era as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how as it was, the majority of our childhood.
Fair.
A part of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Majority.
I wouldn't say the majority for me.
It was the majority for me. I was hyper fixated. Thanks, untreated ADHD.
I remember a lot of this and Beast Wars.
Shit.
We're talking about the Saban Era, the first time.
1993.
Yeah. We're going from the original MMPR up through Time Force, because Saban didn't do all of Wild Force. That got moved a lot
They
to
did
Disney.
3 episodes of it.
Yeah.
So we're counting that as Disney.
So we're doing Mighty Morphin all the way up through Time Force.
Yes. So this is very much a product of its time.
Mighty Morphin is
Absolutely.
absolutely a product of its time in everything from the aesthetics to the characters to
The archetypes,
to the overall story.
or lack thereof.
Yes.
Oof. So those first season, 2 seasons, until they actually get like some semblance
It
of story.
very much feels like we are going to take a concept we explored, like we as in like children's entertainment as a whole. Something that we explored in Ninja Turtles, where we have just like a team of like radical heroes, but now we're going to do it in live action with kids.
And we're going to do it for cheap because we have this Japanese show that's already done all the expensive shit, and we're just going to use that footage.
All we need to do is shoot the Saved by the Bell portions, and we're good.
That's completely accurate.
And
It's
honestly,
Saved by the Bell meets Ninja Turtles.
and honestly, in 1993 was absolutely a recipe for success.
Mm-hmm.
Those were very popular at the time, so let's just combine the two.
Exactly.
Totally tubular.
It's honestly shocking how long it took to get Power Rangers on the air, and how much
How many times he tried and didn't.
and how many people told him this would never work.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, when he tried it the first time, with Bioman, that's a very different one. I feel like
Yeah.
this is just, it works explicitly for the time period that it came in on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up getting those first few seasons, and there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff that ends up happening. People are not getting paid well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tumultuous time because they're like their faces are everywhere, but sort of like the R&B group TLC, they were not getting paid a lot for how popular they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, TLC did not get paid well.
Oh, jeez.
Those the album that Waterfalls came out, aka the year after Power Rangers came on the air, they got like shit all, and that's all. That album went platinum a couple of times.
Not surprised.
But yeah, the first 3 seasons are very much so 90s.
Yes.
But, like,
extremely.
Take that as you will. It could, because sometimes it's in a bad way, sometimes it's in a good way.
Where the characters don't seem to have
An
personalities.
endearingly cheesy way, I would
Yeah.
say.
They get personalities more as the show goes along.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you're getting a couple of cast changes. This is really the last period of time where it's just like, we're just going to keep having the same cast, maybe change a couple of people depending on,
We still got Zeo.
how the story goes and who wants to get paid more, and then we'll just shuffle them out the door and get somebody new.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know if we're going to count this, Alien Rangers.
Oh, it happened. It existed.
It was an experiment, to be sure.
Yeah, because they're just like, hey, we're just going to give you a hint of new suits.
They tried something else, and
Now, did they try something else out of the want to experiment or the need because they were out of stock footage?
The need and the fact that I don't think Toei wanted to make any more of the Zero Ranger footage. It's like, you're going to use the new suits because this is getting too... Or it could be that Saban's like, it's just too expensive. Because
let's just fart something out that's really quick and cheap and short.
And we'll use the suits that we already have, but also make Aquitian Rangers and give them gills.
Make them talk like they sound like they're underwater.
Yes.
Truly, that no one could find that annoying.
Yeah, none at all. I bet their favorite singer is Atlantis Morissette.
You have to fight the Rangers.
Thank you.
Anyway, on to Power Rangers Zeo, which was definitely, let's take everything that worked with Mighty Morphin and get rid of all the shit that didn't, to a degree.
More or less, because this time it was very much so, again, back to the basics of Mighty Morphin, where there was no real, like, Season 3 was, like, had a sort of overarching story. But with this one, just, like, there's sort of one through line.
At the beginning they had to tread carefully because it was new suits, new villains, new everything. So they wanted to make sure that the show would continue to grow or continue to be successful. And holy shit, was it.
Zeo, it had its moments. In all honesty, this is the one I remember the least of.
I get that.
I remember the singing episode.
In a good way or a bad way?
No.
Nope.
Just no. To all of it.
It won't great. Because a lot of those people could not sing.
I remember Jason coming back to be the Gold Ranger.
I remember that. And then losing the powers.
I'm still upset it wasn't Tommy's brother.
And then losing the powers.
Like immediately.
And then getting new powers.
Yeah. Anyway, Turbo.
Turbo happened
Turbo.
With a movie.
Turbo happened with a movie that later did the show even acknowledge the movie as canon?
Yeah, because it was the bridge between the two.
All right, but I know one of the actors changed.
Yeah, this is when Justin came in.
No, not that, but the villain.
Oh yeah, because she was pregnant.
Yeah,
she had to leave. Yeah, and then the actress who played her in the movie came back in the show after a little bit.
But Turbo just this is a case of the source not befitting the tone that they were going for.
No.
They wanted to make because Power Rangers Turbo. This is a high octane, energy charged
with the best theme song.
Energy explosion action show, and then you're using your stock footage as Car Ranger.
So they got screwed.
Well,
Bit of a square peg in a round hole.
No shit. And then they added Justin.
Because Three Ninjas was uber popular at the time. So let's go ahead and get a Kid Ranger.
A bunch of stuff with kids in it was popular.
Which is really funny because if you think about it, the guy who played the young version of the Red Ranger during Alien Rangers was in Three Ninjas too.
He was. He was one of the brothers.
Yeah. I found him on TikTok, and he talks about his time in Power Rangers and in Three Ninjas a lot.
He's doing well.
He is. He's got a dojo.
Awesome. There you go. But yeah, Turbo was it suffered from tonal whiplash.
But guys, I'm the new Blue Ranger.
That happened in the movie.
I don't give a shit.
It's still Turbo.
Turbo.
They made him the smartest one. He was the smart one.
He was the smart one.
Why does Blue always have to be the smart one?
And this is also the time that
because Billy was.
No more of the original cast.
After the recast. After about halfway, they replaced all the original cast. And that's when it started. That is when there was no more old cast. Well, we had In Space. Sorry, this was the last time.
And Lost Galaxy.
I was going to say this is the last time we were going to see the
Tommy and the others.
Yeah, and
this is the last time before Johnny. Well, actually, Johnny and Bosch came back in Space
for a bit.
Oh, Johnny on Bosch. Sorry, I was thinking Jason David Frank.
And then he went on to voice Bosch from Dragon.
And everything
and
else.
A bunch of other
everything else.
Lots and lots and lots of other things.
Just so much. But anyway, but yeah, this is like the last time they made Justin really smart, tonal whiplash. They didn't really know exactly what to do, so they're just like, all right, let's go ahead and go to In Space because we're losing money at this point.
And at this point, they were like, you know what, this is going to be the last one, let's just throw all of our money at it.
And it worked.
It worked
In Space.
So fucking well.
In Space is a very good series.
It was the culmination.
It was a culmination of everything that happened before it. So it was just like, I'm going to say like this is the finale, and Lost Galaxy was more or less the epilogue.
It's so much bigger in scope than any of the previous shows had been, because previously we have had evil organizations and empires threatening world domination. But in this one, when we open up and our lead ranger, our Red Ranger, is himself coming from beyond the stars to Earth to help, ward off a galactic invasion.
And Justin stayed behind me. He was actually they kept up his intelligence level because he knew that it was not a good idea for him to go. So I was just like, I appreciate.
I also
that was a very
they
adult
definitely
decision.
set up the scope in the very first scene because the Red Ranger is sneaking into a meeting of a bunch of villains, some of which we have not seen before. And I also like that they acknowledge that they were reusing a suit. Have I told you that you remind me of my late fiance?
And Malagor. But they brought it in the comics.
And one of our favorite lines ever.
Rita. I just love the laugh beforehand. Just like, I love this woman. Everything she's in. And I love how her actors will just play along with it now. Because she loves it so much. And I see her like, I love this woman. She can do no wrong in my eyes.
But In Space was definitely probably the best season the Saban Era gave us.
Yeah.
Now, did it have its faults? Absolutely.
They all do.
Holy shit, that CGI does not hold up.
Garbage.
Yeah, but that's
It gave us
that's just something that you deal with when you're dealing with older stuff.
It also gave it felt like the threat was more of a
especially
threat.
on a TV budget like this.
Yeah.
The villain, as they went along, felt like an actual threat. After like Astronomer comes onto the ship and like I'm his sister and all of that. Hold on, I'm his sister and I'm gonna go and infiltrate the base because they still think I'm on their side, and then she ends up getting brainwashed. What's his name?
Brainwashed by brainwashed.
Brainwashed by brainwashed Ecliptor.
Yeah, I like brainwashed by brainwashed. Anyway.
Yeah, that whole scene where he's like bearing down
Easy
her.
to remember.
I remember a lot more from this season. And just how, especially after she got taken over with those cybernetic implants and bringing in the Psycho Rangers. We'll talk
Where
about
it feels like, In Space feels like the first time we ever deviated from trying to be just a cool 90s show, and we really feel like we're starting to tell a story with characters in Space.
Yeah.
To the point where we're even giving Bulk and Skull character arcs.
Yeah.
And we're rounding them out more as characters.
And they, stepped away from the high school a bit. Like, they were there for a little bit at the beginning at the Surf Shack, and then they just, stopped going there. And I was like, thank God, because there was no point in having this.
But yeah, good show. Great evolution for the series.
Yeah. And then,
franchise as a whole.
Ending Zordon. Getting rid of him.
Definitely a good final note for the Zordon era.
Yeah, then, doing the whole wave of goodness that didn't stretch far enough. And, yeah, it was interesting. It's still fun to watch. I actually still really enjoy In Space as a series. Then we end up getting to Lost Galaxy, which I've talked about the suits many times, so I'm going to skip over that. But
they're not the worst suits we've had. But remember, the visors are the mouths.
We know that now. Thank you.
But yeah,
I still thought the story was nice.
Oh yeah, Lost Galaxy had a very good story. Its overarching plot. I don't think I gave this series enough credit the first time.
So what was the joke we always make? Mike, you don't know who that is.
Oh yeah. I don't even think David actually knew his name. He just started screaming for him because everybody else did. Oh yeah, Mike. But its story was actually still really good. I really don't think I gave this show enough props the first time around.
Yeah.
There was something really... It feels good to go back and watch it and actually see the characters. I don't think they're the most fleshed out of everybody. But, I mean,
they're definitely not the most bland or two-dimensional.
I think Leo was really good. The whole subplot with Miranoi. Although it just get attacked by a Photoshop filter.
Yeah, when that happens.
Second time. I mean, it's only happened twice.
It's definitely
but it's
great because it's still using original villain footage, not the Sentai footage.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a plus there.
They did use them, but they actually made a new villain for this one. And then his daughter, that whole thing with
the training montage.
Yeah, the training montage. I do love a training
montage.
Training montage music. You're the best.
Right.
Here.
But then we go on to.
Well, I mean, we had
prepared.
we had the first team up for real.
Oh yeah,
this,
first team.
This is actually the second one because we had the Alien Rangers come back, but who cares? But this feels like an actual team up with lasting consequences. We had Kentrish's death, Astronomer coming back,
which was handled very well.
Yeah, especially with everything that was going on with their actress. She seems to be good now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, with Astronema coming back and
Well,
actually
hats off to her.
actually having a redemption arc
Mm.
as Corone, I just really appreciate a lot of things they did. And that final fight with what was his name? Trakina and Deviat, when they end up combining by accident
Oh yeah,
and making that weird
green.
monster grasshopper thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that point blank shot with the battleizer to the face.
Yeah.
Everything with the Black Knight.
Oh god, that was so good.
That was handled very well done. His son just got wrecked.
But it was very there was a lot of good things about last
Yeah.
season. See that kind of flying under the radar.
Yeah.
And then we move on to
Lightspeed Rescue.
which honestly has its problems, like the recruitment policy.
Yeah.
But also has a very good story. It's very nice to see the first public servant Power Rangers.
They're public servants. Their occupations are public servants, and also we're scaling it back.
Yeah.
Scaling it back, which
We're
is
not
definitely
going
nice.
to space anymore. We're back on
But
Earth.
it's also like the first
It's a
time
very
it's not
localized threat.
teenagers with attitude. These are adults
Adults with jobs.
with responsibilities. And they-
Adults with teenagers with attitude. No, we're adults with responsibilities.
Yeah.
and they take it very
They take
seriously.
their job seriously.
Green Ranger sometimes.
Joel was great.
He was great. You need that kind of guy
Yeah.
to keep things on keep morale high.
And then go on to win several awards.
And then Yellow was there.
Award-winning movie.
And Yellow was there.
I don't even.
What did she do?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen her in anything else. We've seen Joel, obviously, like his actor. He was in Dreamgirls.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was the brother.
I don't fucking watch Dreamgirls.
But I don't like. But that's just outside of the show. It's Lightspeed Rescue, especially with
she has no Wikipedia page, so
like the first American Ranger,
Oh yeah, the first American-made Ranger,
Titanium.
Mhm.
Using the
Who
Turbo
has
Ranger suit. That big old T for Titanium. T.
Goodness, he's aged very well.
Oh yeah, he looks the exact same.
He's extremely handsome.
He looks the exact same. He looks great.
I'm talking about Keith Robinson, who played the Green Ranger.
Yeah, I really liked how they handled the story. The villains, again, but they gave us the
written well, acted poorly.
severely for. It's fun to go back and watch this show though,
Okay,
because she just
watch it again.
she's so bad that she circles around to being amazing.
But then, she does get better in the team up
Does she?
in Time Force.
She did get exploded in a car, but
Very Mad Max of her.
I really liked this show.
Oh no, it was a fantastic show.
It was done well.
Mhm.
It was acted for the most part well. Captain Mitchell was 10 out of 10 as, having to make that decision with his son and his daughter.
And the decision to go down with the ship at the end,
Yeah.
or tried to, and everyone's like, no. You don't get to fucking run away from this.
There is no need for heroic sacrifice. We have plenty of room. Come on.
What was her name? Miss Merriweather?
Yes.
The scientist?
She was great.
She was great. Like, they picked I feel like after those first couple of seasons and really after Into In Space going on, it's just like, let's get actual actors.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get people who can act.
I
Show
I
emotion.
honestly like watching the first couple episodes of that show.
Let's Be Rescue?
Yeah,
Same.
it's just a good. It's also just got a great opening. I love the scene where they are at the table and he's opening all their folders, and then I always think to myself, it's like, for your skills, get the Yellow Ranger, and we needed another girl.
This is also the first one that's.
I mean, she has skills getting into, she can rock climb, she can get to treacherous environments. She might have.
When was it used?
That's not the point.
What?
Nope. Nope.
I believe it was used once or twice.
Nope.
Scaling ability.
Nope.
But
I know plenty of actors who were hired for skills that were never used.
This is also the.
I'm not referring to her actor. I'm referring to her.
No,
character.
I am making a comparison.
This is also the first time they actually got something. This is completely separate from Zordon. Zordon Era more or less ended with Lost Galaxy. Because they actually had a connection with Corona and all that.
Mhm.
This time it's just like, nope, this is a completely original
On its
thing
own.
with its own story, with its own cast, no returning actors.
And as you can tell, we rather enjoyed it.
It was very
Good
good.
show.
And then we ended up getting to probably the best of the Saban Era.
Time Force.
Time Force.
The best on its own, yeah.
great. The
But
actors.
we're scaling things up a bit. We're going into time travel now.
The actors. Except
Very-
for Lucas.
Very good. Well, Lucas, I think, was fine. I think he was given a shit script.
He just didn't have anything to do.
That's the fault of the writers, not
Yeah,
his.
that is the fault.
That's not the actor's fault.
The fault in their stars.
Yeah.
Couldn't bring over the fact that
it-
he had
it
to
definitely
The
helped.
fault in their keyboards.
It definitely helped that they followed
And
the
their brains.
Sentai equivalent so closely
for the most part.
in terms of plot.
For the most part. For a lot of character beats, because Rancic was completely new, so they had something new there, and then we ended up having...
And he's, I think, one of the best villains Power Rangers had.
Yeah.
I like Rancic a lot.
I do too.
I like
in
him
this
too. I
show.
don't think he's one of the best I don't think he's one of the best villains we've ever had.
I think he was the best in this show.
Yeah, I think he
Actually, I think he's probably one of the best up until this point. It's just the fact that what happened next with him.
I think he also got over.
I was okay with it.
I think he got overhyped as time went on.
I don't think he did.
I think his story got a little construed. People trying to make him tragic when he.
Well, that was the show.
Well, no. The show was trying to make him tragic, but at the same time, people were trying to make that everything. But like Linkara said, there is a moment where somebody genuinely gives him kindness, empathy, and compassion, and his response is to fuck the guy over and stab him in the back.
They took a lot of...
he's not a tragic guy looking for love.
No. They did take a lot of story beats from Time Ranger, but especially because that happened with Dom Lagranio, where he backstabbed Frax's equivalent, Guillen. But I really enjoyed just, one, the story, everything with... I didn't think I was going to enjoy Nadira as a villain, but I came to enjoy her a lot more as the show went along. Mm-hmm. I thought she was good. The Rangers were mostly very good. Katie and Lucas suffered.
Yeah.
I feel like I
We
guess
had the best bromance ever.
Wes and Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jen.
Was the best. Enough said.
Which is great.
Will Smith.
Have you seen her? She's amazing. And this story was just also really well done. Although they didn't do everything correctly in Time Force, they did a lot really well. Mm-hmm. And I really think that most of the actors really brought it to the show. Yeah. Saban ended on a high note with Time Force. I feel like...
Feels, again, like they were casting less for who can fit this stereotype.
Yeah.
And who can like, bring the most to this character.
What worked in the early 90s didn't work anymore.
Doesn't work now.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work then. With Time Force, it's just like, we can't do
Here's
that.
the thing, it worked for us then because we were little kids. And that was all we needed.
Yeah. Also, the 90s just had very different standards. The early 90s had very different standards for stuff.
Valid.
Very true.
Yeah, as it went along, it's just like, I understand they couldn't bring everything over.
They gave us Batman the Animated Series, but a lot of it is complete and utter dreck.
They couldn't do Domon's story, obviously. And they couldn't do Blue's story, so that sort of hampered them. But I feel like for everybody else, they did really well. The acting helped. As the Saban Era went along, you could definitely see how things evolved and changed. Like, let's do big grand space epics. Mm-hmm. Let's bring it back to a much more grounded area.
You can definitely tell there was
And even though Time Force is a time traveling, science fiction
Melodrama.
Time traveling sci-fi melodrama, it still is very character focused.
Yeah.
And they do keep it relatively small scale.
Yeah.
It's built up a little bit compared to what we had from Lightspeed Rescue, but it still is relatively character focused.
And they made the smart decision of not using time travel as that much, really, to prevent people overanalyzing paradoxes.
You're going to run into that stuff whenever you do time travel.
No, I'm not saying you're not.
That's something inherent in the source material.
No, but I'm saying they limited the amount of time travel they did to limit the amount of that happening. Because there's still
I don't know if that was their thinking, but it definitely helps.
They irrevocably altered the past.
How? Can't tell you.
Why? Why
is
not?
Katie. I like Katie.
But yeah, the Saban Era it definitely has its downs. It definitely has its ups.
I think it had more ups than downs.
As it went along,
better towards the latter half.
It was definitely a climb.
It's like the MMPR season 1, 2, 3, Zeo, Turbo, the end of Turbo.
I forgot about Turbo.
The
end of Turbo is pretty damn great.
They destroyed the power chamber.
In Space, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force. Just like it ended really strong. So yeah, it was a good era overall, full of ups and downs, bads and goods. But
it was definitely the start of.
Yeah, it was definitely the start. The latter half was better.
Well, I was going to say it was definitely the start of something that would
still go on.
Still go on 25, 7 years later.
Still going on. We got Dino Fury
Happening
right now, and we got another reboot in the works for the big screen.
Which is a shame. I like the cast of the last one.
I mean, they're all just busy. And next time that we're doing this,
are they though? One of them was in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Busy.
He got work.
But it was the Mortal Kombat movie.
Okay.
Next time.
I thought it was okay.
Next time we'll end up talking about.
He was also an Aquaman.
He was. We'll talk about the Disney era. I decided to talk about
Wild Force through RPM.
Yep.
Let us know what you think of the original Saban era, if you were old enough to be there.
Or if you've gone back and watched it in retrospect, what do you think?
Let us know in the comments down below. Follow us on all of the things, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.